Today is March 24th, 2025. My name is Melissa Ackerman, and I will be interviewing Rabbi Howard Wolk for our JFS employee collection. How are you today, Rabbi?
Good, thank you. Thank you for asking me to participate.
Good to see you. When were you hired?
I began August of 2007 with JFS.
And what were you hired? What position were you hired
As
for?
a community chaplain. It was actually something that had been discussed for many years. When I was rabbi at Shari Tefillah, the Rabbinic Association, we always would discuss the need for a community chaplain. When there were requests for a rabbi, Debbie Weiner, who was then head of the older adults department, she would call around to rabbis, and sometimes did rotation, taking a month each. We would do a hospital visit. There's a funeral necessity, but certainly I speak for myself, there was no follow-up. I would visit someone once in the hospital, never followed up. Rabbis were busy with their congregations, and so we felt there was a need in the community. People wanted for us to quantify the need. That was a hard thing to do. That's why, for many years, we couldn't get funding from the Federation. And after 16 years at Shai Tefillah, my wife, blessed memory Annette, she and I went to West Hartford, Connecticut, and we were there for 5 years. Didn't like the winters there, and after 5 years wanted to return to Dallas. And I spoke to a few people here, Bill Finkelstein, Howard Schultz, Nate Levine, maybe take a different approach, see if there'd be a group who'd be willing to fund the project for 2 or 3 years initially, and then it would become part of the JFS regular curriculum. Over the years at Shari Tefillah, I was very involved with the Jewish Family Service, serving on committees and doing in-service. Had a very good relationship, working relationship with Michael Fleischer. And so when I proposed this idea, he liked it very much. And that's how we ended up coming back to Dallas. Initially it was half-time, and the other half-time at Yavna High School. Mm-hmm. Then after a couple of years, it developed into a full-time position. I remember Michael saying that he likened this to the family violence program. When JFS started it, they had no idea what the need was in the community, mm-hmm. But then when it became available, the needs just came forward. And he felt it was the same thing with the chaplaincy program. We knew there was a need. The extent of the need, we really didn't know till we introduced it to the community.
Mm-hmm. So what is a typical day for you? Do you have a typical day?
I would say in some ways, yes. There are about 15 to 20 independent assisted living communities that I visit on a monthly basis. Mm-hmm. Some I visit once a month, some twice a month, others once a month. It's open, my discussion group is open to all members of that community, mm-hmm. Jewish and non-Jewish. Mm-hmm. Many of the places I have more non-Jews there than Jews. We talk about current events. We don't talk American politics. We'll talk Israeli politics. Mm-hmm. There's a Jewish holiday coming up, current events. So I have that each week. And then there are many things that come up. I work closely with a number of hospice groups in Dallas. If they have a Jewish client who's not affiliated with a congregation, they'll call me. It's the same thing with hospital visits. I work closely with the different chaplains' offices in the different hospitals. Mm-hmm. And so may not be a typical week. Mm-hmm. Things have come up since we started the program that we never envisioned would occur, but I'm happy to say we've filled a need in the community.
And you're busier than ever, it sounds like.
Busier than ever, and over the years I've had non-Jewish clients also. Really? Someone who's seeing a therapist here and wants to talk to a clergyman, so person would say, well, we have a rabbi and staff. Well, I'll talk to a rabbi. Mm-hmm. Sure. And talk about spiritual ideas and ethical issues that a person may have.
Okay. What programs and services have evolved during your time with JFS, in addition to the chaplaincy?
Well, a program that existed before, but again, responds to a particular need. Together with the foundation of the Federation, we have an indigent burial program. Someone Jewish passes away and the immediate family cannot provide a proper burial. So we work with Restland and Sparkman Hillcrest. At a nominal cost, they provide their services. There are 3 congregations, Temple, Emmanuel, Tiferet, and Sherith, that rotate donating a plot, and I provide the the service, and we get probably half dozen or so requests per year. Deborah Liebensberger, who's the head of our older adults department, she really gets the hard work. She has to interview the family, make sure there's a real need on the part of the family. We've even had requests for this from non-Jewish people, but the funding is limited to members of the Jewish community.
What changes in the Jewish community have occurred that have influenced how JFS has responded to community need?
Well, I think, the growth of the community. I think the recent statistics show about 50% of the community is unfortunately unaffiliated with a congregation. And I just got a call last week from a woman recently moved here from Colorado, and she gave birth to a baby boy, wants to have a bris for her son. I'm not a moil, but I turned her over to the proper individuals.
You know some moils.
Yeah, I know a moil, correct. And actually, we're filming this on Monday. Yesterday, Sunday, got a text from someone in Israel who got my name and number from someone in Israel I know. This person who contacted me, Miriam is her name, she has a friend here in Dallas that also looking for a moil, and so that's one of the services, so to speak, that we provide.
You're telling me a lot of things that I, as a community member, was not aware of. So
okay, good.
That's nice. What are some initiatives to increase interest in Jewish Family Service and its mission and the services that you offer?
I think very important to let the community know, following up what you just said, let the community know, let the Jewish community know what we provide for the Jewish members of the community. To be honest with you, sometimes we hear that people say, well, we service the non-Jewish members of the community. What about serving more to the Jewish members of the community? So I think we've made a conscious effort to put this information out in the public of the Jewish community. Since I would say since COVID, unfortunately, increase of number of Jewish families who come to our food pantry. We have to publicize, what we do. I've dealt with many cases over the years where a Jewish woman is seeking a get, a Jewish divorce, and her husband may or may not be cooperative. We work with that kind of situation. Dr. Sal Lurie, of blessed memory, who was a president of JFS, he once said to me that JFS is the most hands-on organization in the Jewish community. And I think it was true when he said it. It's certainly true now. It's something I always quote him when I speak in public about what JFS does. I mention this.
Mm-hmm. So who are some of the other key staff that have been involved since you've been on board?
Well, Michael Fleischer, Kathy. I worked with many years Debbie Weiner until she retired, Deborah Liebensberger. I really work with all members of the staff. I do an in-service a few times a year that's open to the entire staff.
And what do you cover?
Some related to upcoming Jewish holidays, kind of like a Passover 101, or someone said to me, Rabbi, you can go to 201 because we've heard that, okay? I gave an in-service a couple of weeks ago on ethical issues involved with donating organs for transplant. There are many staff members who will come to me. They're working with a Jewish client. Even the extent of a client uses a Hebrew or Jewish term when they're speaking, and the therapist has no idea what it means. I've had times where the therapist would run into my office in the middle of their session to ask, what does this word mean? So in the past, I've given out at some in-services that I've had a glossary of terms, just kind of basic Jewish terms to acquaint people with. And, we're always adding new staff members. And so leadership always asks me to speak to the new staff members for a few minutes, talk about the Jewish aspect of JFS. In advance of our gala in a few weeks, I'm going to give an in-service about the importance of the Jewish view on philanthropy and tzedakah.
Okay.
So a very important part of my role, both here inside JFS and in the community, is to be an educational resource. Like I mentioned earlier, I work with a number of hospice groups, and I've done over the years many in-service for their staff members, how to relate to a Jewish patient, Jewish aspects of end-of-life issues, for example.
You tie a lot of things together for people.
Yeah, try to.
Yeah. In relation to your time at Jewish Family Service, of what are you most proud?
I think proud in terms of making an impact on people's lives. I have a file of notes and letters, emails from people, Jewish and non-Jewish people, who I visited over the years with, writing words of thanks. I think everyone in the agency, what we do here, we're not working with numbers, we're working with individuals, with people. And, being a pulpit rabbi for many, many years was good training in terms of what I do here, pastoral work, but also, this is not a 9-to-5 job. Very often there are calls at night, emergency calls, going down to emergency rooms on a Saturday night. Remember one year got home right at the end of Yom Kippur, an emergency call. So I grabbed something to eat and some orange juice in the car and drove down to Baylor Hospital to visit someone.
Has this job as chaplain been what you expected it to be when you sought the job?
Yeah, I would say so, but things certainly have come up that I never envisioned happening. Got a call from a rabbi in Phoenix. The adult son of a congregant of his, was coming back from Israel, switching planes in Dallas, had a mental breakdown.
Oh my, okay.
They couldn't locate him at first, so we had the police involved, working with them, working with the police at the airport, working with Parkland Hospital. That's where he eventually ended up. So I never put that in the job description. When Michael Fleischer and I, listed it, we never put something like that down. But it's important that people outside the city, outside the country, know that there's a place to call if that kind of an emergency, comes up.
So are you available 24 hours a day if needed, except Shabbat?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't sleep a whole lot at night, so you're not going to wake me up.
Okay. What is something about Jewish Family Service that's not commonly known that you want the community to know and understand?
That's a good question. Something that's not commonly known. Probably how long we've been an agency, how the agency has grown. I mean, it's grown so much in the almost 18 years that I'm here. The different programs, the growth of the food pantry, the growth of our health facility that we provide now. Things like that people are not yet fully aware of. How?
What's the best way to make them aware of it?
We're going to make this these kinds of videos required watching for everybody.
Good idea. Describe the value of Jewish family service to the Dallas Jewish community.
I think it's really, in many ways, a spiritual and ethical backbone for the community, because we impact the lives of so many individuals, and the idea is we want to make people's lives more enjoyable, better. Sometimes our role is just to try to ease the pain, the physical pain, the emotional trauma, psychological damage that a person may suffer. So, we're there in times of joy and also times of loss, times of grief.
Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Okay, thank
Enjoyed
you.
visiting with you today.
Thank you.